This is a video of 609 East 11th, and I just want to give you a quick image of the neighborhood here before we go inside the house proper. So on the left-hand side of the house, you have this alleyway, which is actually where I'm parked down there. And you can see that you've got a garage off the alleyway here, but there's really not like a parking area in front of the garage to speak of. It's really super short. I mean, you can see the very minimal area. So you couldn't even fit a car in there. You'd have to pull it into the garage. But coming back around to the front of the house, this house is in really, really bad shape. Really bad. So it's got vinyl siding on it, and I'll get a close-up of some of the spots. But the vinyl siding is cracked all over the place, and somebody has just kind of like put glue on top of it for these cracks, trying to hold them together. And so really any place on the siding where you see like a dark section, it's because they tried to glue over cracks. The biggest issue in this house is the foundation. There are several really huge cracks that go all the way from the inside of the house to the outside. I mean, when we're in the basement, you'll be able to see daylight of some of those cracks. And it goes around the entire outside of the house like that. You can see just, sections of wood rot on the porch here. And the porch is settled in a couple of different directions. Like you can tell this pillar is kind of pushed out a little bit. But again, walking up to the front here, it looks like you've probably got some termites in that front area. But you can see all the little glue spots I'm talking about on this siding where they've just glued over these cracks trying to fix them. So looking down on this side, you can see another very large foundation crack down there in the corner. And there's one underneath this porch that you can see daylight through when you're in the basement. So coming into the house proper, it has plaster walls throughout the property, and plaster on the ceiling. I'm gonna have to get kind of close up to this because it's hard to tell all the issues, but you can see here where they have actually tried to like fill in a doorway, see that? And it's re-cracked through, it's cracked here, but just lots and lots of cracks in the walls and in the ceiling. You can see where the wall is actually pulling away from the support here. And they've just kind of like filled it with paint and things like that. There are vinyl double pane windows throughout the property, which are newer than the house itself, but in a lot of places the wood casing around them is kind of rotted out, which I'll show you as well. So walking through the living room, if you go directly into the kitchen, you can feel a very distinct incline headed towards this back room here. And in the kitchen, this walling that they've got on here is actually popped out. It's kind of hard to tell in the video, but it's popped out from just the pressure of the movement in this foundation. Kitchen area here. I mean, really, cosmetically, this whole house needs to be gutted, but truthfully, the foundation is so bad with holes directly through from the inside to the outside. I just don't think it's worth it. Little sunroom here off the kitchen. And it looks like there's a spot for a dryer here in the corner because the venting's right here. But if I open up this door, you can actually see where I was showing you the little like parking kind of area in front of the garage, which is again super minimal. There's a composition roof on top of the garage which is shot and needs to be replaced. The house itself has 3D composition, and the roof on top of the house, the part that I can see, looks okay. It's pretty loud. I mean, you can hear the cars going by outside in the front there. But just walking towards the hallway, it's got really interesting painting. And you can see that there are a couple of different attic fans that have like damage to them. And I'm having a hard time telling if that's fire damage or what's going on there, but it's kind of bent up. All the doors have random things written on them. It's just, I mean, the house is just in really, really rough shape. Big crack there in the ceiling. Again, more writing on the doors. But just kind of panning around, I want you to get a feeling for the house. I mean, it's been very, very neglected. And you can tell that throughout the property as we go around. So in this closet here, you can see these really large cracks that are coming through even like the wallpaper that exists in this closet. And then that upper section there again, just more settling evidence. Coming down this hallway, to my right is how we get down to the stairs, but first we're just gonna finish out this hallway. So to my right again is a bathroom. This is the only bathroom in the property. And you can just see spots where like the tile is pulling away from the walls. They've used a lot of like foam spray insulation to fill these really horrible gaps throughout the property. It looks like the toilet isn't even hooked up to a wall there. And again, just more evidence of the settling there in that corner. And more damage here on this wall. And you can see where the wall is just pulling away from the ceiling up there at the top as well. Paint, obviously, just kind of everywhere. So, okay, coming back out of this room, a hole in the wall there towards the bottom. We're gonna go into this bedroom, which this is the front bedroom facing the front porch. And you can see where the floor has settled down away from the baseboards, and so there's like a gap, and in some places it gapped so bad that they went to fill it again with like that spray foam insulation. These windows are vinyl cased, but they originally had wood around them, and you can see that they rotted in places, and it's like they just pulled out those wood pieces instead of replacing them. So we're gonna go down into the basement now because that's really the thing. So door headed down into the basement, should be a piece of glass here, there's not. The stairs are super uneven coming down into the basement. And you can see again, just lots of spray foam and cracking and just like random boards that they added in places. But you can see where like the backboard of the stair is broken apart, and it's super uneven walking down just from the pressure. So here is the wall, and there is a huge bulge right here. So how it looks like the sellers handled these huge bulges is they covered them with like this black sort of cover, and then you can see this kind of like epoxy underneath it. And they have these steel beams, but these black covers are covering really large, I mean, you can see how big that is. Really, really large cracks. So, I mean, this is what the wall looks like, and it's just a mess. Huge bulges. It's really messed with the floor. You can see that they've sistered a lot of these beams, which, I mean, they had to support it. But here's the real problem with the foundation is every place that these black things are, I think you've got a pretty big hole so you can actually see outside. That is a direct hole outside underneath the porch. And so as I am scanning around this basement, you'll notice that those black covers are in a lot of places. So that huge crack we saw in the outskirts corner when we first came in, right there. Here's another one. There's another one. And you can see coming around this side that this whole wall has that black stuff over what is an exceptionally large crack. So this foundation is just super shot. And I just don't even know if it could get to a point where it's actually legitimately stable, because sections like that area there are crumbling apart inside. So here at this back wall, just some more evidence of like wall displacement. And part of this property is on a crawl space. And so when we go outside, you'll see some more cracking and things in the foundation. And I can't really see how bad it is in the crawl space. But again, this gives you, I mean, there's a huge, you can see where like it's just pulling away from the wall here. Okay, so we're gonna take this outside now so that you can see the outside of the property, and I'm gonna pick it up outside.